The Senate has released its findings on what led to the deadly attack on the Capitol. The report points to widespread security and intelligence failures, leaving officers on the front line ill-prepared to confront the angry mob that showed up on January 6th. CBS News congressional correspondent Kris Van Cleave sat down with several of the senators who led the investigation.
Multiple red flags that could have alerted officers to the potential for violence on January 6th were missed or not communicated.
They didn't have the intelligence to know what was coming.
The first Senate report on January 6th also found federal law enforcement did not do a threat assessment. The Capitol Police failed to widely share all the intelligence it had been gathering for weeks, including news maps of the Capitol and its tunnel system were circulating online. Buried at the end of a 15-page intel document on January 3rd, this stark warning. Congress itself is the target on the 6th.
People were saying, well, this just can't happen. And these groups of folks, they can't do that. Well, now we know they can.
The next day, top Pentagon officials asked about locking down D.C. The report also found most rank-and-file police officers were not briefed, adequately equipped, or trained for what was to come.
To have one of the officers, he actually said, in the middle of all this, people are being shot, glass is breaking. He said, does anyone have a plan?
Tonight, lawyers for Douglas Jensen, seen here chasing Officer Eugene Goodman, say he came to the Capitol at the direction of the president. But the Senate investigation did not look at the role of former President Trump. Doesn't somebody need to look at the how, not just the why?
Yes.
I think you're going to find a lot of information that you can only find in one way, and that's to pursue this through the legal system.
The report makes 20 recommendations, mainly to the Capitol Police, Department of Defense, and federal law enforcement, focused on better communication, training, preparation, but also recommendations about speeding up the National Guard's response to the Capitol in an emergency. Some of these recommendations are already being implemented, and today the acting chief of the Capitol Police pledged to continue trying to make the department better. Elaine?
Kris Van Cleave, thank you. For more, let's bring in Siobhan Hughes. Siobhan is a congressional reporter for the Wall Street Journal. Hi there, Siobhan. So the Senate report did not address the motivations behind the Capitol attack. Why wasn't this part of the assessment?
Well, what Senator Portman said is that the goal was to prevent another attack. And if you're focused on how to prevent another attack, you focus on what the failures, what the lapses were. But of course, this does point to a bigger issue, which is when you get to the question of the motivations, you start to intersect with the very subject that was at the heart of impeachment proceedings earlier this year, which is the desire to stop Joe Biden from assuming the presidency. That gets into very political territory. It would be unlikely to draw bipartisan support that the senators really wanted to give credibility to this report.
So Senator Amy Klobuchar says the country still needs a 9/11-style commission to investigate the January 6th attack. Are there still hopes on Capitol Hill of bringing something like that together?
Well, what Chuck Schumer has said is that he reserves the right to vote again on legislation creating a commission. But that said, it seems like the appetite for that measure is dwindling among the Republicans who would be on board. And of course, the later you get into the year, the harder it is to stand up a commission that could complete its work by the end of the year before the political season gets underway. So it does seem unlikely.
Well, also on Capitol Hill Tuesday, the CEO of the Colonial Pipeline Company testified before a Senate committee. He addressed the cyber attack that shut down the pipeline last month. What were the big takeaways from that hearing?
Well, there were a number of interesting points, but a couple of highlights. Number one, the issue of paying ransom. Paying ransom is something that the FBI discourages because it can simply lead to a booming market in cybercrime and may not actually end up protecting systems. The CEO disclosed that he actually had paid the ransom in spite of knowing what the FBI guidance was, and that's making lawmakers uncomfortable enough that there's just some discussion about writing laws to ban the payment of ransom. There was also the issue of what goes by the name cyber hygiene, the practices you take to protect your computer systems. And what the CEO said was that his system was protected with something called only single factor authentication, meaning you needed a single password, not the 2 steps that you or I might have to protect our email system from a hacker.
Well, so in light of the Colonial incident and last week's cyber attack on the world's largest meat processor, is Congress considering any specific legislation mandating cybersecurity requirements for critical infrastructure industries?
There are conversations about that, but the conversations haven't gelled into something that would be substantive. And of course, as the situation is now, there are different standards for different industries. So, for example, the electricity sector is already regulated in terms of cybersecurity. Pipelines aren't. That's different. And so a lot of jurisdictional issues would have to be reconciled, too.
Yeah, I mean, just as we hear more and more about these hacks, it sounds like an ongoing situation that at some point lawmakers are really going to have to think about addressing in a way that protects, commerce here in the United States and the privacy and security of these critical infrastructure systems that we have. Siobhan Hughes for us. Siobhan, always good to see you. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you.